Something exploded where nothing should have. An object from another star system, Interstellar Object 3I/Atlas, reached perihelion the moment it brushed closest to our sun. But instead of passing quietly through space like every other visitor before it, it detonated. Astronomers watched in disbelief as its brightness surged beyond all predictions, then fractured into silence. It was supposed to survive, not vanish in a single pulse of light. And what came next, no one could explain. At first, scientists assumed the readings were wrong. Maybe the detectors glitched, maybe sunlight interfered. But the data repeated across multiple observatories, SOHO, Stereo, Solar Orbiter, all showing the same violent spike. 3I/Atlas had exploded. An interstellar body, older than our sun, shattered by forces no model could describe. This wasn't a gentle disintegration. It was a detonation that broke every rule of celestial physics. The light signature was the first clue. Ordinary comets fade after releasing gas and dust. Atlas didn't. Its light doubled again seconds after vanishing, as if something inside reignited after destruction. That pulse was so sharp that NASA thought it was an instrument echo. It wasn't. The energy curve matched nothing ever recorded before. An ultraviolet surge stronger than the sun's background radiation burst outward, leaving behind spectral fingerprints of molecules no one could identify. Within hours, solar probes detected electromagnetic tremors. The Parker Solar Probe recorded tiny, chaotic bursts that rippled through the solar wind patterns that looked almost engineered, like signals rather than natural noise. Scientists debated whether internal pressure could explain it, or if 3I/Atlas held trapped energy from another system entirely. Some even suggested nuclear decay from isotopes frozen for eons, reactivated by sunlight at perihelion. But even that theory fell apart under analysis. The object was supposed to vaporize slowly under solar radiation, not explode all at once. For it to detonate, something deep inside had to store energy, massive, unstable energy, waiting for the perfect trigger. Some say it was rotational stress. Others whisper about interstellar chemistry unlike anything known. Whatever it was, it released more power than an asteroid its size should ever produce. And then came the silence. No debris trail, no dust plume, just a flicker that faded into pure void, leaving telescopes staring at empty space where the object had been seconds before. NASA's official report calls it a high-energy fragmentation event. But many within the agency quietly admit this wasn't fragmentation. It was an event beyond explanation, because explosions require a cause. And right now, no one knows what caused this one. Something hidden inside 3I/Atlas defied every physical law we understand. Something that shouldn't exist in the vacuum of space, yet did. For days after the explosion, every telescope on Earth and in orbit turned toward the last known coordinates of 3I/Atlas. Nothing. No reflection, no residue, no fading dust cloud that usually follows a breakup. It was as if the object erased itself from existence. That silence made scientists more uncomfortable than the explosion itself. Objects don't just vanish in space. They leave traces, even when vaporized. But this one didn't. The sun's corona revealed no fragments, no trail, no echo of light scattering from debris. It was absolute absence. And in astrophysics, absence means something is wrong. The data wasn't random. Hours after the detonation, instruments detected microbursts of radiation rippling from the same direction. Each burst carried a pattern, repeating intervals like a rhythm. Researchers initially dismissed it as solar interference, but when the same pulse was recorded by observatories thousands of miles apart, the possibility of coincidence vanished. Something about 3I/Atlas's explosion had released energy in a structured, almost intelligent way. The intervals were consistent, mathematically perfect. They followed a Fibonacci progression, something nature rarely does without cause. NASA classified the signals within minutes, but fragments of the raw data leaked to independent researchers who discovered something stranger. When converted into sound waves, the radiation bursts produced a harmonic tone, a frequency that oscillated at precisely 432 Hz, known as the natural resonance of Earth's magnetic field. No one could explain how an interstellar object, born in another star system, could release energy that mirrored our planet's frequency so precisely. Some claimed it was coincidence. Others said it was communication. The idea that 3I/Atlas was artificial spread fast online, fueled by amateur astronomers and leaked snippets from internal briefings. The object's core composition was never confirmed. Its spectral data showed metals that shouldn't exist together, iridium, osmium, and isotopes that decay faster than they should. That suggested either advanced molecular layering or a reaction so exotic it bordered on engineered. One astrophysicist from the European Space Agency described it off-record as not entirely natural. Another said bluntly, "It acted like a machine that reached its limit." As scientists dug deeper, they realized something even more disturbing. The light curve from the final explosion aligned perfectly with energy spikes detected months earlier from deep interstellar space, before 3I/Atlas entered our solar system. Meaning the detonation wasn't random. It was timed. It was part of a process that started long before the object ever reached our sun. Some began to theorize it wasn't destruction at all, but activation. That 3I/Atlas didn't explode, it transformed. Now telescopes searching the region have picked up faint ultraviolet glimmers moving outward, slower than light but too fast to be debris. Whatever left that signature isn't inert. It's moving, directed, like something following a path. And every new reading brings one haunting possibility closer. That 3I/Atlas wasn't just visiting. It was doing something planned, deliberate, and still unfolding out there beyond the reach of our understanding. Astronomers thought the mystery of 3I/Atlas would fade after its disappearance, but what followed made them question everything they knew about cosmic behavior. Roughly 72 hours after the explosion, the Solar and Heliospheric Observatory picked up a thin, symmetrical arc of ultraviolet light forming exactly where the object had vanished. It wasn't expanding like dust or gas. It was shaping itself. The arc curved, stabilized, then began to rotate slowly, like a fragment of geometry trying to assemble in the void. No one had ever seen a remnant behave with such precision. It wasn't random. It was organized. And that terrified scientists more than the explosion ever could. Data analysts from NASA noticed something unsettling. The arc's motion wasn't influenced by gravity, solar radiation, or magnetic flux. It moved independently, adjusting its orientation as if responding to something invisible. One engineer compared it to a drone holding formation against turbulence. But there were no engines, no propulsion signatures, no heat. The arc was cold, silent, and alive with energy patterns unknown to physics. Some called it a magnetic shell, others an artificial containment field. Whatever it was maintaining stability in an environment that should rip it apart instantly. Then came the sound. The same rhythmic frequency detected earlier, 432 Hz, returned, but this time it wasn't a single tone. Carried modulation. Waves of encoded variation pulsed at precise intervals. When converted into visual data, the pattern displayed a repeating spiral, a mathematical structure identical to galactic rotation curves. It was as if the signal was referencing the very shape of the universe itself. The message wasn't random noise. It was instruction, and it originated exactly from the remains of 3I/Atlas. Researchers tried to decode it, but every attempt resulted in incomplete translations. The waveform seemed to rewrite itself with every analysis, as if aware it was being studied. One NASA linguist suggested it was adaptive encryption, technology beyond anything human civilization had conceived. Others proposed a more chilling theory. The explosion wasn't destruction at all, but a transmission event. 3I/Atlas had come to our system to deliver something. The detonation at Perihelion might have been a release mechanism. A signal, seeded into the sun's electromagnetic field, now spreading invisibly through the heliosphere. Weeks later, solar monitors began detecting microscopic disturbances across planetary magnetospheres, Earth included. Patterns echoing the same Fibonacci intervals that defined the original bursts. Something from that explosion had embedded itself into solar data streams. The phenomenon was invisible, intangible, but undeniably present. Whatever message 3I/Atlas carried hadn't ended with its disappearance. It had only just begun to unfold. And if its origin truly was interstellar, then the question is no longer what it was. The question now is who sent it, and whether it's waiting for a reply.